In Handypeople we did not use to make swimming pool videos because we knew little about pools. The thing is that, it is true, it seems to us that it is an exciting world where there are many misunderstandings and many things to solve. What have we done? As we always do, appeal to a first-level specialist. In this case, the Technical Assistance Service of QP Products. They carry the maintenance of a lot of equipment, they know a lot about pools and we are learning a lot with them. In fact, in this tutorial let's start with the first part, which is to talk about the leakage. Let's do it with a pump and sand filter, of those that carry out the pump and the filter. And we will be developing contents around both the mechanical equipment and pool chemical we have in the pool. You're going to see how we discover things that really surprise us because sometimes we have a strange concept of how pool maintenance works. We are going to make the assembly of a pump and sand filter that is the most common in small pools. We are talking about systems that have a filter with a base where we put the pump. There are different models in which the filter is bigger and the pumps are more powerful. But the mounting system is the same. So this process is generally the same. As you can see, here we have everything that this kit contains. Let's start with the assembly, in particular, with the sand filter. These are the parts we're going to assemble in the sand filter. Here you have the pipe which, on the inside, has grooves so that water can pass through it but the filtering material cannot. I'm going to take this pipe leaving the part with the grooves facing inward and first we put the sealing gasket. We insert it inside the filter. We put on the outside the following gasket and we tighten the nut well. Finally, we put the stopper with its gasket inside the filter. This stopper is what keeps the filter closed while we don't have to empty it. It is important that, when you tighten it, do it only using your hand. Using your hand is more than enough to do it. If you have to use a toolie, because you do not have enough strength in your hand, keep in mind that we can't tighten it too much because they are plastic pieces that can be broken. Next, we will place the motor on the base. As you can see, there is a bracket to put 4 screws that match with some of the different eyes that the base has. Let's see now how to prepare our filter. Inside the filter, we put this standpipe that is connected to the shift valve that goes on top. You must notice something important. The filtering material that we are going to use is the one that surrounds this standpipe. We will use silica sand or glass filter media. You can use any of the two. The advantage that glass has over silica sand is that you never have to change it, whereas every 5 years or so, you have to replace the old sand with new one. For a filter like this one, I would use about 42 pounds of sand or 33 pounds of glass filter. I always use less glass than sand. What is going on? When I fill it up, I need this standpipe to be well centered. To make sure it stays centered, I have this centering device. We will place it in such a way that, when we fill in with the filtering material, it makes sure that the filter is perfectly vertical, so that I can fit in without any problem the valve. If we had to close it already, what we would always have to do is to put the gasket in this valve first. This sealing seal is going to guarantee that, when I tighten it, the whole filter vessel will be perfectly closed. This must be done with the sand inside, of course, which is what we would have placed. To make the closing, I have these flanges that will close the encounter between the valve and the container. Then I am going to screw them with a few through screws so that it is perfectly closed. To properly tighten the flanges, we alternate tightening on one side and the other alternately. Once we have already prepared our filter, what we are going to show you is how to give support from filter to pool and drain, and how to place all outlets for our pipes. What this kit brings is these kind of fittings. It brings 5 identical fittings that are designed to place in each of the exits. They are 1.5 inches, they are threaded and, by the other side, what we have are connections for tubes of 1 1/4 or 1.5 inches. With this, I can place the usual tubes that are used in this type of swimming pools to show you. Although it doesn't come in the kit, we have also brought a tube that we can buy to make the connection with a pool. They are 1.5 tubes that we can cut in as many segments as we need to work in the pool. To place them, the ones I have here, come with a conical gasket. I place it and this already allow me to make it waterproof already. So, I don't need sealant tape. We're going to put each one of them because there's a special one and I will explain later because it is different treatment. Let's put this one first in the pump entry. Notice that, as in the previous case, I always place the pieces tightening them with my hand. If you don't have enough strength with your hand to ensure tightness, and you see that it has some little dripping, then you can use a wrench or a pipe wrench, but tighten it very little. These pieces need to be tightened very little. Basically, what can happen if you over-tighten is that you may break the threading. This point where waste is written at the exit is the outlet that goes directly to the lost water, to the drain. For this case the kit brings two options. I can put this piece to place after an output with a shut-off valve, or if I don't want to leave a permanent output tube, I can put a stopper. Now let's place the tube that joins the pump and the filter. To place it we will use this tube, which is a pipe of 1 1/4 inch, and these flanges. So first we introduce here the pipe, and once we have placed it, we tighten with the flange and carry it directly to the inlet of the filter. Always putting the flange and we're going to finish off our installation placing the device that will allow us to know when the filter is working correctly. This is how to do it. It's this pressure gauge. This pressure gauge will replace the position of this stopper. Note that in this stopper we also have a small gasket that allow us to install it here. What happens? It happens that, as I need this to hold a certain position when I tighten it, the trick that I have to know that one thing is going to fit in the position that I want is to use sealant tape, because sealant tape does give us room to make a little turn and leaves the pressure gauge in the position I want, so that it is always straight. So let's give it sealant tape and let's place it. Once we have already assembled our equipment, we will see two essential things that are how it works and how maintenance is done. First of all, I'll tell you how to calculate what equipment I need. It's very simple. We calculate the volume of our pool, divide it by 8 and that is the flow rate of the pump we need. The pumps come like this, they are measured per liters hour or gallons hour. In our pool we need to calculate whether the pump is able to give the water a full turn in 8 hours or empty it in 8 hours. That is the calculation we establish to make the debugging work well. This selector valve we have on this equipment has 4 positions. The most common one we are going to have is that of filter. This one does the circulation and the cleaning of the water through the filter. The moment you notice that the return inlets pour water with less energy and you see that the pressure is getting up here, is a symptom that the sand inside is clogging, or else, it starts to have too much waste. At this point we need to change the position and carry out the backwash. Very important, every time we want to carry out a backwash, we have to stop the pump. It is essential to do so. I stop the pump and take the handle, lifting it up to the position backwash. What the backwash does is that the water that is coming directly from the pump, when I turn it on again, it reverses its way. In the normal filtration position, water flows through these grills and enter through this standpipe. Well, in the case of the backwash, what it does is reverse this process, making the water come out from the bottom upward and that flow, which goes in the opposite direction, drags the sediments and also makes sand unclogging. This is very important. To do this backwash function you must remove the stopper. because the backwash always comes out through this drain. It's lost water that I have for cleaning. Once I have done this process that lasts about 3 minutes, enough to do this cleaning process, as there are usually enough foams and residues left of all the movement that has been done in order to avoid throw them back to the pool, stop the pump again and use a complementary position, that is the position of rinse. This position will return to the usual way of filtering again. It will drive the water so that it enters through the grid and comes out through the standpipe in the normal position. But, in this position, water also continues to flow out of the drain as well. So there is no waste going into the pool. Once I have done this, for about 3 minutes as well, I stop the bomb. You can put the plug back on the output, that is not usually open, which is the waste output, and select the filtering position. From then on, it continues throughout the normal process. I told you that, as far as the installation is concerned, all pump and sand filters are equal despite their different sizes. However, characteristics such as the valve change. The valve, in the case of larger models, has 7 positions, instead of having the 4 positions we saw in the previous equipment. EQs they also include a recirculation one. The recirculation position makes the water that the pump drives returns to the exit of the pool without go through the filter. We use this, for example, when we want to use a product like flocculant, so that the flocculant does not get mixed with the sand, and it is distributed more effectively, moved with the help of the return inlet. There is another position which is the waste position. This position of waste is the one we use to drain water from the pool. Finally, there is a third position which is the closed position. When we want to clean the basket and open it, this position avoids that a great amount of water comes out of the filter, thus blocking the passage of water. As you can see, there are also different outlets, because we can put threads on the outside, which go to 2 inches, and with them we can use thicker tubes that allow us to carry a greater flow. So far what I have explained is how this filter works regarding the maintenance of the pool. Now let's see what maintenance you have to take into account for the equipment itself. As far as the filtration is concerned, you do not have to do any special maintenance. There is nothing that will give you any complication. But I do have to consider one thing. If you are in a hot season and you stop the filter completely, you are leaving inside this container stagnant water, which can be for a long time if you don't reactivate it. There are 2 possible solutions to this problem, and luckily both are very simple. The first one is to never stop filtration and, at least half an hour a day, make the chlorinated water circulate to prevent water from being retained. The second option, if you really need to stop the equipment, what you can do is incorporate to the silica sand a sand filter cleaner. The second aspect of maintenance would be the maintenance of the pump itself. This pump has a pre-filter here at the entrance. To open this pre-filter, we have to stop the pump motor. If we do not have the valve in the closed position, we put it, because it will also prevent the water from flowing out when we open it. Nor will be a large amount of water. But notice that, inside, there is a basket that is a kind of skimmer that complements the skimmers in the pool. It's a little thinner and everything that which escapes us from of the baskets of the skimmers come here. Thus we have to clean it up. Just because it looks like a skimmer doesn't mean that I can put chlorine tablets here. In general, all the disinfection processes are done in the pool. To disinfect this, you need to have the disinfectants already diluted in water, so that, in this way, you are not using products that are corrosive to some pump elements. When we close it, notice that this is a plastic thread. This has advantages, because it endures very well the weather, unlike metals that can rust. But you must work with it with a certain care. I pull it back a little bit and take the threaded well to close it. If you see something getting stuck, do not force it, because, if you mess up the thread, it's really a problem to be changing the piece because it has damaged the thread. You can always use a silicone lubricant or petroleum jelly to help it move better. Putting it on the edges is the way to ensure it will move easily, and so to avoid that, in case there is blockage, you can force it and spoil the threading. As far as maintenance of the pump is concerned, you don't have to worry about anything. However, you must keep in mind that it comes with a plug to the network. Or I already have an electric panel, which comes with its circuit breaker, with its timer switch and so on, to make this work for me. Or, if I want to use it, just by plugging it into an outlet. What I can do is put a programmable timer. We've already talked in other tutorials about how they work, some of them even have an app to program them. And you have the possibility to integrate the programmer into this system as well. Remember the security aspects. Place this equipment at a distance from the pool as indicated by the legal regulation in your area. This is a rule that must be adhered to, or respected as much as we can, because it is a really important element of prevention that must be abided by even at home. This is how it is. Well, I think that with this we already have the fundamental data about the use of this type of equipment. If you have contents, suggestions or ratings for our videos, please tell us in the comments. We will be very happy to take them into account. We'll keep talking about more pool content. The one we have seen is the heart of the maintenance of the pool, but more will come, for sure. And, as always, if you liked our tutorial, thanks for your like, subscribe to the channel, if you are not yet, and, of course, share this video with all your friends who like to know about maintenance and DIY.